Now, here are your hosts, Hank Davis and Alex Cruz.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Falling Skies Fan Podcast. This episode is brought to you by I Heart Plot Holes gear, brought to you by us, TPE Network. So you can check out our Cafe Press store at cafepress.com/outlandish comedy and get your I Heart Plot Holes t-shirt, mug, and more. Joining me on the line, he is my partner in crime. He is Alex Cruz. How the heck are you, buddy?
I am doing excellent. And how is everybody doing out there? I know we come into this episode with two different rating for we got two different sets of ratings for the past two episodes.
Yeah. And we got some groveling to do to Maxim Night. Then I'm just going down.
We got all kinds of stuff.
I'm going down the list. So, Alex, let's start out with the ratings from the prior week, and then let's get into this past episode.
Okay, the prior week. Okay, hopefully everyone's sitting down for this. So the prior week, we were at Badlands for June the 16th, and we did a miserable 2.79. And never in the history of Fallen Skies has it ever sunk that low.
And let's hope never will it again.
Right. And so I went and checked to see what was on TV that night, and you know what? There's really no excuse. So the only thing I will say is that I believe it was the first episode of everybody's favorite soft porn vampire show on HBO. But other than that,
but nothing actually was on though. Nothing real.
Other than that, yeah, that's about it. So yeah, True Blood definitely took it for that week.
That
However,
just sucks.
This week we see a significant increase, and so we go from a 2.79 million viewers to a 3.55 million viewers.
That's weird. Something had to have been happening, or something had to be going on.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. It was Father's Day weekend.
Okay.
But hey, that didn't stop me from watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe people were like spending time with their dads and stuff, which you know what they should, but I don't know. And then this episode.
Hey, Alex, can you back that mic off just a pinch? Yep. I'm getting a bad wind from you.
There we go. How's that?
Sounds better.
Okay.
Now, this episode, what's the deal with this episode?
Okay, this episode, more people were tuning in to Nick Wallenda and his little tightrope escapades than that was the top most viewed thing in cable TV.
Oh, you have to be joking.
So, and you know what? I wasn't even paying attention to see what he was walking over this time. But like I said, the ratings were off the roof for a cable show with this. And he is talking next about walking from the top of the Empire State Building to, I think it was the Chrysler Building. They're going to put wire between the two buildings, which is they're a few blocks away from one another, so that could be interesting.
Yeah, people were tweeting about it all night long, and when he was doing it, when I flipped it on, he was talking to himself, and I started just hysterically laughing. I had to change it because I didn't want him to fall to his death because I was laughing too loud. But
and you know what? I wonder if people just watch it just to see if he will fall.
Oh, I hope not.
I know. You know what? I think this to me, this type of entertainment reminds me of some of the entertainment we used to watch in the 70s with the Gong Show, and just we had multitude of game shows, and you know what? You just don't see things like that. Remember, Evel Knievel used to be on, and we used to watch all the times he's crashed. So you don't see that a whole lot anymore.
No, you don't see too much of that craziness now. brings us to our next topic, which is Maxim Night waste part of his time watching this show. So remember when we were speculating on, hey, wonder which cast member might watch the show? And you said, I think Maxim Night would be the only one that could figure out the internet and such.
Right.
You were probably right, because not only did you say that, but then I brought up his curly hair, I think, and then you said a Jerry curl. And he tweeted me a few days later saying, dude, fun to watch your podcast, but gotta tell you, no Jerry curl here. My hair just naturally became curly when I turned 12. Oh my goodness. So that is proof he watched this show.
Wow. You know what? I'm impressed. And Maxim, you know what? If I ever offended you, oh well.
Oh.
Get over it. But no, you know what? And it's funny that Maxim said that, because he and we kind of had the opposite. I used to have naturally curly hair up until I was 12, and then it became straight. So
weird.
Puberty does
strange things.
Strange things. That's right. So and you know what? I wonder now, Maxim, if you're listening to this, please respond, because I happened to watch the first episode a little bit today because I wanted to get some clarification on some things, and so I have my students. I teach 5th grade. My students, some of them like to wear Mohawks. And to me, it looked like over the summertime or before you started shooting, you may have had a curly Mohawk and it's just starting to grow in.
Oh.
And please tweet if I'm correct on that. And if
or call the voicemail line.
And if I am correct on that, please send us pictures. That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome. Call the voicemail line. That'd be even better. All right, Alex. Well, should we get into our recap of At All Costs? We have several pieces of feedback after the episode, is recapped. But if anything should come up during the show, I'm just going to bring it up at that time.
All right, good.
Let's jump in. So we start out right where we left off last week with Charleston under attack. So they let that prisoner, Lieutenant Fisher, out to see the Volm smoke some mechs, and she doesn't believe it. Wasn't that crazy that they let her out to see that?
And Ben, you know what? He had, or not Ben, but I'm at a loss for words now. Our president,
Tom,
thank you. Had the wrong one. Tom says, "Watch this." And she was freaking out. So, and she saw those ships coming in, and she's like, "Oh, I gotta get out of here!" She's like panicking, and they like told her, "No, just watch this.
Watch this one, sister." That I thought that was pretty cool. That it seemed like he wanted to validate everything that was going on. Like, here, I'll show you we're getting help and such. Like, hey, go home and tell your president this. Which was pretty cool. All right, Cochise makes his presence felt, and then she was really shocked. And if you thought she was shocked when she seen those Volm smoke those mechs, she was very shocked when she seen Cochise, because didn't it look like she wanted to jump out of her skin?
Yeah. And you know what? She had some pretty good reasons too, because as you very well know, when she first spotted our people in Charleston, she just automatically assumed these were alien sympathizers.
Yeah.
And so not only were they working with the rebel skidders, but we have the Volm they're working with, and you know what? You're not sure if you can trust them. And you know what? That very same kind of thing happens later in the episode too, as we'll get to.
Yeah. Matt and his crew, they're talking smack while everybody's cleaning up, I guess. Did you notice those two boys he was talking to in this episode? Are they the exact same two that they blew up the window and most of the house with?
You know what? I wasn't really paying attention.
Okay,
And
I didn't know if it was like one
But-
of them and a different kid, or if it was.
but
all the
I'm
same
going
kid.
to assume so.
Okay, I was just curious.
And Maxim, if you're listening, you can verify that for us. Thank you, buddy.
You'll be the third member of the podcast.
That's right. And one thing this brings up, this is kind of like foreshadowing of one of 4 subplots that go on in this episode.
Jeez, yeah, there was a lot to follow this episode. Now, Hal bailed out some of the berserkers, among others, and Maggie is quick to point that out to everybody. What did you think about that scene where the big berserker guy was like, "Oh man, thanks for saving me" and such? And was she trying to validate it to herself or to him that, look, you can't be under control of Karen because you're helping people?
You know what? I think it was more or less for him.
Okay. Try to give him
Because
some.
I think in the bottom of her heart, she knows that Hal isn't in control and he's not the mole. Because, as everybody knows, Maggie is the mole. No, I'm kidding.
That'd be an awesome swerve. All right, so Hal stops Tom, and then Maggie kind of intervenes, and she's trying to continue to stop him from revealing that whole Karen situation. So what did you think about that little dynamic there where Tom, did you get the sense that Tom knows something's up?
You know what? I don't think Tom knows because, you know what? He's too dang busy
Yep.
being the leader of the Charleston group.
It felt like he was just going, like a quick brush off, like, "Hey, you okay? Hey, I'm sorry I didn't get to come to see you the other day, blah, 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 and I got to go." It just, like, he's way too busy to even catch any of the small things that are going on.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going, especially within his family. He's got a newborn baby who may or may not be an alien love child from somebody else. You got the things going on with Matt, with Maxim's character. See how I use Maxim's name again? Jeez. I'm not trying to kiss up to a celebrity, especially a kid, but
love the pandering. Love it.
But anyway, now he's got issues too. I mean, he was getting himself into trouble with his friends. And then you have Ben, who, you know what? He's been hanging out with this other formerly harnessed kid, and there's not a whole lot of interaction between dad and son there either.
No. Nope. And Ann and Tom really don't interact that much on the show. Not really.
No, they don't.
So here's where it starts to get creepy, because Ann swabs the baby's mouth to get some DNA. And then Lourdes shows up again. And creepy baby speaks, afterward or whatever, and smiles. Has that
Yeah, it's like, I love you too.
That fake smile is like so overdone, don't you think? It's so fake.
Yeah.
It's creepy, but it looks like just way too big of a smile, like a closed lip smile or whatever.
And the thing I thought is like, who are they doing to get the voiceovers for the kid?
I don't know.
So I think Maxim's doing it.
Do you think they went to mediavoiceovers.com and hired Wayne Henderson? Do you think
Wayne Henderson, I think, could pull that off, especially with his deep baritone voice.
Weaver and Tom talk about losing. Who in the heck is Cyrus? And they reference Fitchburg, the Battle of Fitchburg. Who is Cyrus?
Well, it's nobody we know, and you know what? Again, it's these characters that we all of a sudden just pop in and out, and supposedly they've been with us the whole entire time, or so the writers say.
Yeah.
But I think what the writers are trying to do, though, is they're trying to tie in the previous 2 seasons with this season.
Yeah. I think so, but
Even though it's artificial how they do it, I think.
just give me a cutscene. Can I at least get a cutscene or a picture of somebody on a wall where I can go, oh, that's who this person is, or something like some kind of marker for the fans, because I feel a little bit left out. Because if you're gonna, and were they drinking again? Do they drink after every fallen soldier friend of theirs?
You know what? It seems like they do.
Middle of the day drinking.
And I'll tell you what, this scene bothered me.
Really?
Because Tom blew off Hal.
Yeah, he did.
What? Go drinking with Weaver?
That's true.
That's how I saw it. And you can't give your son at least 5 minutes of your time.
And you're right. Well, I didn't look at it like that, but good point. Now, then the prisoner, Lieutenant Fisher, says that they need to inform the real president, Hathaway, about what the Second Mass and crew can do with their alien allies. So Tom gets to talk to the president, and they set up a face-to-face. Would you have trusted that over the walkie like that? Would you have been like, oh, okay, since I'm the president of my people, I'll fly with just a handful of people to go meet the real president? Or so this person says at this time, Well,
and another thing, too, is, well, what's Tom's title now? Is he still the president or not? And that really wasn't addressed in this episode whatsoever.
And if he is, who's going to be his running mate, And how many votes does Charleston get?
I don't know.
Electorals, because that's what it comes down to, because the mass population's vote don't matter. All right. We have the technology to remove the spikes from deharnessed bionic commandos, but we still don't have the technology to notice a bug crawling around inside of Hal's head. Alrighty.
You know what? This is one of the So right now, let's take a count, shall we, as to how many subplots we're going over so far. Okay.
Okay.
So we got the subplot with the lieutenant that they had captured the previous episode.
Setting up meeting with the president.
So that's one.
Okay.
And if anything, that's probably the main one.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And then we have Hal and his issues.
Yes.
Okay. And then we have
Ben and his Spike envy.
We have Ben and and we have Ben and Spike, not Spike from Happy Days. And yes, kids, you probably have no idea what the heck I'm talking about. But anyway, it's Fonzie's cousin.
Ben and Denny, they have Spike envy.
Okay, and so we have that subplot going on, and that's what with Matt when he was that one young kid was talking to them, stating that, oh, I would like to be one of those harness kids and have all those cool abilities. And I was like, what are you talking about, kid? You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, back in my day, there weren't any harnesses.
That's right. And so, you and then we have the baby, the star child.
Oh, yeah, creepy baby.
So we have 4 things going on right now.
At least 4. There's probably more that we're not even thinking about.
And and you know what? And with that being said, you got a subplot within the subplot.
Yeah, true. You do.
Because as we're going to find out, okay, you might want to do the spoiler alert thing now.
Let's save it for later then.
Okay.
Because what I want to start doing on this podcast is everything anything that can be seen on the show is in the main show. Anything that we have to look up or find on the internet or anything like that is going to be at the very end, just so we don't tick people off.
No. This isn't internet related. This is this episode related.
Okay. You want to just wait till we get to it?
Well, actually, no, it's not a spoiler. Never mind. We have Pope and the Berserkers, their mistrust of the whole Charlotte thing.
They kind of put that on the back burner though this week.
Oh, this week they did, but it's still there. But as you stated, I think there were so many dang subplots going on that they didn't want to overwhelm everybody.
It's like watching an episode of Game of Thrones. It's like, 2 minutes with each character. Awesome. So Lourdes walks Ben through the procedure, but Ben is a little skeptical. Because we find out that these harnesses or the spikes left in, they can reduce their lifespan. Correct?
You know what, that it was stated that they could, but you know what, you can never prove that.
Yeah, I was like,
It was
since when
just
did Lourdes?
it was just a speculation, and
Yeah, when
who
did she
knows,
become?
maybe it might do the opposite. Maybe it might extend their life.
Well, when did she become like the expert on all things alien? You know, I mean, she's walking us through some very complicated stuff.
And you know, all of a sudden she's a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you hear her conversation she has,
Yeah.
she is sounding very much like a doctor when she's really only a medical assistant, if even that.
Yeah. Yikes. All right. Pope is being talked to by Tom Weaver and Bressler. They are going to take Pope's plane. It's a 1935 vintage Beechcraft. And then Pope's like, well, you're not just going to take my plane. I'm going. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Did that make any sense that he wanted to go because they were going to take his plane? I didn't think it made sense. Not to me, it didn't.
Well, that sounds like a Pope thing to me, and that's nice how we called the plane a vintage.
Yeah.
You know what? If it was me, I wouldn't be on that thing whatsoever.
No, 1935 would be like, yeah, you guys go. Take it. Here's the keys.
And to me, vintage is a nice way of saying old.
I'm a vintage podcaster. All right. Weaver is worried about Tom going to meet the president. So I thought to myself, yeah, that could get awkward. President meeting president. But do you think Weaver's suspicions are founded in any kind of logical thinking? Or is Weaver just being overly protective because him and Tom are now best buddies?
Well, you know what? You don't send your top guy to something that you're not sure of.
Yeah, I thought that was a little strange.
It's kind of like
General.
Star Trek: The Next Generation episodes.
Oh no!
In which
Here we go.
Okay, yeah, here we go. The Trekkies talking
down the rabbit hole.
So, in those episodes, you know what? They always sent the first officer down, and not so much the captain. Even though the captain would say, "Ah, screw it, I'm going to go down there anyway," on away missions, and that's kind of, I think, his thinking is you don't send your top person into something that they're completely unsure about.
Yeah,
and you know what? There's logic in that. That's Weaver's being cautious, and it's good to be cautious like that.
Yeah, you have to. Definitely have to. Now, Anne comes to see Tom off, but this was supposed to be top secret? Question mark. Now, we have an email that ties right into this. So can I read that real quick?
Go ahead.
Let me add this to the mix because it makes perfect sense to introduce it here. There's going to be another scenario later in the show. Do you want me to wait till then or just do it?
Just do it.
Hi, guys. Love the podcast. Did you guys find it weird that Anne showed up at the airport before Tom was leaving, and then when he was on the radio with Weaver, just coincidentally enough, she says, I thought that was too coincidental. I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. Thanks, Beth. Beth, thank you so much for adding to the conversation. I thought that was weird as well, that it was just perfect timing that she shows up. What about you? Did you catch it?
Well, they kind of, you know, I know later on in the episode, what we're going to get is that word had traveled that Tom was on the radio with Weaver during his stay, and all of a sudden there's Anne, and something about, you know, word travels fast
Here in Charleston.
And you know, and people talk, you know. That's if you live in a small town. I work in a small town, and news travels quickly.
Okay.
And that's not so much a mole thing as how people like to gab.
Yeah, that's true. And then Lourdes had packed Tom a med kit And that's going to also come into play in a email that only touches on that lightly later. I'll get to it at the end of the show.
Yeah.
So Cochise and Lieutenant Fisher are coming along for the ride. So now we've kind of got a full plane here. We've got Bressler, Tom, Pope, Fisher, and Cochise all packed into this vintage aircraft. So I thought that was going to be a bumpy ride because when Pope seen that Cochise was coming, woo boy, he was like, uh-oh, bubblehead.
And not only that, but one thing that I kind of cracked up at is Cochise's uncertainty about even getting in the plane to begin with.
Was that not weird that he was kind of scared?
No, I don't blame him because look at that thing. I would have been very cautious trying to get in that.
He's like, is it safe? I was like, yeah, sure, it might be. Nobody's flown it in forever, but yeah, sure. Oh, so I thought that was cool little deal. Ben and the bionic woman, Denny, are talking about losing their superpowers. So it seems like Ben is not so gung-ho. And it seemed like Denny was more like, I get to be normal again. I'll be wearing my glasses again. You know, like she was more accepting of it. And he's like thinking of all the negatives.
Yeah, he's kind of having some second thoughts about it. At first he says, yeah, let's do it. Now it's like, you know what? Maybe we got to think about this a little bit.
Yeah. He was like, let's go over this a bit. This is what we get. This is what we'll lose, you know?
Right, and not only that, but like I said, I probably watched the first half hour of the first season 3 episode today. And one thing that I was thinking about was, you know what? How can those guys communicate with the rebel skidders?
Ooh, good point.
If that's taken out of them, they can't communicate.
No. Wonder what they would do then. Oh,
Well,
that's
I
a
don't know,
great point.
that's just a thought, but
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Well, maybe we're probably never going to find out because Ben and Denny are probably like, hey, screw it. So Anne goes to see Dr. Kadar. And now everybody is going to see this guy. Now, he kind of alludes to like, you know, this is, it's busy now, you know, now that there's a new president and such. So she tricks him to, into running a DNA test. And he's like, yeah, but I'm going to need all these ingredients. Can you go get this stuff? And I want to go, where did those glasses he has on his face come from?
oh, that's right, because they were broke.
Yeah. So where do these ones come from? Do we have the technology to make glasses?
Evidently, we do.
Okay. I was just wondering because I didn't remember them picking those ones up. And then with his creepy talking to himself stuff, man, I was thinking to myself, wow, he's kind of freaky. They're doing a good job of making him seem a little strange.
And so first thing that came to mind was this guy, before everything went down, was a serial killer. That's what I thought at first. But then we got to know him a little bit in this episode, and then I came to think other things, which we'll talk about when we get to this next scene.
Yeah, because it's like kind of like the movie Dodgeball. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a dodgeball. All right, Ben and Matt have a nice exchange about history and spikes. That's what I always talk to my brother about. What I thought was the best part of this exchange was talking about their dad not being so cool in college. I was like, oh, that's messed up.
What a cool conversation they had. Yeah, Dad told me this, so you know what? You guarantee you didn't have any chicks or anything, or he didn't get any chicks.
That was awesome. I thought that was funny. I was like, yeah, they're probably right.
Yeah, what a cool conversation to have about your dad. Yeah, he was a geek. Nobody liked him.
Mom took pity on him. Oh, man. So General Bressler touches the vintage plane down, and here we go. They get guns drawn on them immediately, especially when Cochise is revealed. They went nuts. You didn't say you were bringing him, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, brother.
Okay, now I totally geeked out for this because we had Colonel Ty from Battlestar Galactica, Michael Hogan himself, at as that character. And you know what? That character is no different than his Colonel Ty character.
No.
Not
He's
whatsoever.
Not at all. Same voice, same inflection on the voice, everything.
Exactly.
I agree totally.
And so, with that being said, as we know, we got rid of Battlestar Galactica alumni, and now we get a new one. So, as you can see, evidently there's a clause in the Fallen Skies
no more than one
contract that no more than one Battlestar Galactica alumni is allowed per episode. So
they can't appear on the screen at the exact same time due to contractual agreements. Oh, that's awesome.
It's either that or some horrific event will occur. Like you know the old saying that if you ever find your doppelganger, you guys will cancel each other out or something.
Yeah, you can't touch them.
So
that's awesome. And Cochise he's fine about getting taken away, pretty much handcuffed and taken away. He's like, oh, it's fine. Like he expected it.
Yeah.
All right. I could make a reference, but I'll leave it alone.
Yeah.
Anne is back with the ingredients, and Dr. Kadar is back to freaking me out because he's doing that weird, it wasn't your fault, or whatever. What was he saying? He was like talking to himself. He's having some kind of flashback or something, like you didn't mean to do it or something. And I was like, what the heck? And then, was that the first time Anne told us that story about losing her son? And I mean
you know
specifically.
What? I think that's the first time that we know how the son died.
Detailed wise, yeah.
Right.
Because we knew she had a son that died, but we didn't know that. I don't remember the details, to be honest. If it has been mentioned before.
We just know that she had a son and he died. Like I said, I don't think it was ever revealed that how he died, and so we learned that, and then our mad doctor Kadar. You know what? I and this is the scene which my opinion of him changed because I thought, oh, this guy's a goofy serial killer of some kind. And then, you know what? He must have experienced something so traumatic that this is where it led him.
Yep, I bet you he lost like a child or his wife and child or something like that.
Right.
That's what it sounds like. President Hathaway and Tom discuss the Volm and how they are kicking this Finney butt and working side by side with them. So, the president goes to see Cochise and find out what are they fighting for. And did you like Cochise's answer?
I did, but before we get to Cochise's answer, okay, I like it how they have Stephen Collins as the president. So Commander Decker himself from Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yeah.
So, and he wasn't wearing a red shirt or anything, at least not yet.
Not yet.
There's hope for him. But yeah, what a cool character. And then this part we find out a little bit more about the Volm. And again, you know what? To me, it's the little things that are revealed that can either make or kill an episode. And this little revelation is again another piece to the puzzle of what we know about the Volm. And as we know, the Volm really don't have a home world to call their own.
Nope. They evidently he's ready to fight over a flower. The Catarius flower is something he's never seen on, got to see because of the Finney.
He's never been on his home world.
Yeah, he never got to see it because they destroyed it. They messed it all up.
And then we learn about Cochise's brother.
Yeah, they killed his brother. You have killed my family.
Yeah, and so now we have motive for the Volm.
Yeah.
And then it made me believe, well, how many Volm are there actually?
There can't be that many.
And you know what? So the Volm evidently don't have a spaceship to call their own because they had to take a rickety old airplane.
Oh, yeah, good point.
But then again, you'd be under the impression that what if they would have landed in that? You know what? That
They would have got shot down.
they would have got shot down. So it's probably a good thing they did that.
And I really thought the show jumped the shark when the president goes, to the beam up.
Yeah, he was wearing pajamas.
And he touched his chest. He was like, to the
Yeah.
beam up.
Yeah, he's those uniforms from Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Everybody who's ever seen them, like, hey, they're wearing pajamas as their uniforms.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ben and the Bionic Woman, Denny, are back again, and they're talking about the spikes again. And then we kind of notice that she can pretty much fly, pretty much, as she descends to Earth like a character from Underworld. But they spent... I think we have an email about this, too. Yeah, we do. But they spent a lot of time with them two talking about the spikes. Do you think they really needed to spend that amount of time on the pros and cons of having the spikes removed, or could they have just wrapped this up in a bow in one scene?
As I stated earlier, we have four major plots and subplots, four stories going on at the same time. And I agree that they probably could have done that with one scene easily, or maybe two to the max, I would say.
Yeah, two tops to try to beat it into your head.
Right.
But that storyline never had me in any kind of thought pattern of going, oh, he's going to get him removed. I never thought that the whole time. I totally was, it just didn't fit.
Well, see, to me, it was a no-brainer because as was indicated earlier in the episode, Ben would have to go back on having an inhaler.
Oh, yes.
You know what? Why would you have to go back to that? Why would you want to?
Yeah, you don't have to, I guess.
And you know what? Another thing. Why and the girl there, she's Denny. She would have to go back using glasses.
Yeah.
Why would you know what? If I could trade all that stuff in, I would.
Yeah, some of the older harness people, they said they'd have to go back to Viagra. So,
yeah, I wouldn't have to.
Kidding.
I wouldn't want to use that again. So.
Tastes good in Mountain Dew. All right, Hal goes to see Tom, but it's Colonel Weaver that he finds. Hal wants to know, where's Tom? Where's my daddy? And Weaver's like, he's away. He couldn't really tell him, because it's a secret, top secret, above top secret. So when he goes back to his room, he kind of freaks out. And he's talking to his alter ego in the mirror. And his alter ego is hilarious. And I thought that was epic when he was having that exchange with himself like that. I thought he did a fantastic job of just being totally different than the normal Hal character.
And one thing I noticed too is he's looking in the mirror and the image is moving around, and the person that is looking into the mirror is not moving. So it's not an exact mirror image, which is why I liked it.
Yeah, I loved it. And when he punches the glass, and his alter ego said something about, I can take over for a while. It seems like you're stressed out or something.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, I am gonna love this version of Hal. So that is cool.
And so now we have the whatever's inside Hal is now taken over.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, that's creepy.
And you know what? And this is another hole right here.
You want to go? Are you getting on your soapbox?
Okay. Set it up.
It's time for another edition of Uncle Alex's Soapbox. There we go.
All right, boys and girls. So we see, as we know, Hal has come off this traumatic experience in which at first he couldn't walk, and then it was proven to him, you know what, it's all psychological, you can walk. And then his girlfriend calls him Frankenstein last episode because he's still walking awkwardly. And even at the beginning of this episode, he's walking a little awkwardly. Lo and behold, this new and improved Hal, this possessed Hal, I guess we can call it. In fact, I'm going to call him the Exorcist Hal.
Nice.
From this point on. So Exorcist Hal is walking around like nothing happened. Come on. Nobody noticed that. Not even Maggie. He's walking along, and you know what? I'm watching this. Because not even one little limp. And I watched this episode twice. Come on, people.
You're right, man. That's why you got to go get your I Heart Plot Holes t-shirt and mug at Outlandish Comedy on cafepress.com. Oh,
Exactly.
man. I'm getting that mug. I'm buying it today. Weaver is not happy that Tom is staying with Hathaway for a while so they can hash things out. And just then, Anne walks in, and we kind of already discussed this because she's psychic. But let's move on to when Maggie meets up with alter ego Hal and pitches his let's not tell Dad spiel. Let's just not tell him. How about that? I thought that was awesome. I was like, I love this Hal already.
Yeah, and you know what? She's in total agreement with that, and yeah. let's not tell him.
And here we go. Here's where we better get the Fonz ready to jump the shark, because Dr. Kadar tells us that the Star Child's DNA is a jumbled mess. He figures out, oh, that's your daughter, isn't it? And I was thinking to myself, Dr. Kadar, you're about to bite it. But nope, she just smoked him with a wrench instead. So he's not dead, I don't think. But man, did she lay him out with that wrench.
And that's, as we're going to find out, that's not the only thing she's going to do.
No. But like I said earlier, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a dodgeball. So I would not get Dr. Kadar for the dodgeball team.
It's almost like she Jason Todd him. So for all you comic book geeks out there, we know that when the Joker was beating up Robin mercilessly with it was a crowbar, not a big wrench, but that's a huge wrench. That's about the same size. And so that's why I was thinking of, like, oh crap. But she only smacked him once, and all of a sudden she knew what she had to do.
Which is ridiculous. Yeah. Hal and Maggie get close, let's say. So I guess alter ego Hal is the better lover, I guess.
Now, was it me, or did she kind of make a inference that this was their first time?
Oh, I guess I missed it.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe that's what I heard at first.
I wasn't what I was focusing on, I guess.
Again, I'd get on my soapbox once more and I was going to say a giant BS.
Yeah, I don't think that's their first time, but maybe it is.
I don't think so either.
Ben is looking for Denny, but she's not in surgery. He brought her glasses. And she comes up behind him and she's like, you know what? I changed my mind. I want to stay bionic. So they're both going to be superheroes for as long as they can be.
And we have the resolution to this subplot. Okay, they decide they're not going to do it, which, you know, that's fine.
And, you know, when I seen him on the roof, like, time after time after time in this episode, I was like, just kiss the chick and let's be done with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because they go to the roof after this, but we'll skip that.
Right.
We'll just talk about it right now. They go to the roof after that, and I'm like, just kiss her and get it over with. because they're speculating
but-
on which star the Volm, belongs to the Volm or whatever.
Yeah, but do you notice what they're wearing?
What were they wearing?
They were both wearing glasses.
Oh yeah, were they just goofing around or what was it?
I don't know, because they had like Denny had the tape between her glasses, and I'm not so sure if I'm pretty sure they had lenses in them.
Yeah,
But
I did notice they were wearing
they
the
were looking at
glasses.
the stars.
But I thought they were just doing it as like a joke or something. I don't know.
Okay.
You think they went through with it? You think they went through with that surgery?
No. I know
okay.
they didn't go through with that surgery.
Okay, 'cause I was like, I didn't see anything that alluded to that. But yeah, you're right. They did have glasses on. They had
And so I'm
nerd
thinking, you know
glasses.
what? Again, another plot hole. Why? It was never explained why.
If one lens would have been blue and the other red, would have made sense. I'd have been like, well, they're obviously going to see a movie. Killer Ann shows up to see the Star Child, and then she offers Lourdes, hey, Lourdes, I know you're underage and everything, but let's have some drinks. and the alcohol is spiked, and Lourdes is just pounding that poison or, knockout poison or whatever. And when she's going out, it was like, when Ann's like, sorry, Lourdes. And when Lourdes is going out, it's like she says, no problem or something. It's okay or no problem or something. I was crying, laughing. I'm like, you just got drugged, dude. And you're like, it's no problem. And then Ann grabs Lexi and some bags, and she goes to make a break for it. We already talked about the rooftop scene again. So let's go right back to Tom and Hathaway are talking when they are warned of enemy aircraft inbound. So Cochise goes with Hathaway, but Tom, Bressler, and Pope, they get in their bucket of bolts. Did that make any sense to you?
Okay. This is what I got from it. There was a suspicion. Michael Hogan's character, Colonel Ty's character, he stated that, someone alerted to them where they were at. And so, again, whatever mole is in Charleston is somehow found out. And yeah. And so they're immediately have to take off. So Cochise is going with the president. And
seems
so
backwards.
Yeah.
To me, it seems like it should have been Bressler, Cochise, Pope, Tom, and the president.
Right.
That's what I thought. I don't know. But I guess that wouldn't drive next week's storyline if it happened the way I wanted it. And so here's where we come to nearly the end. Ann's packing her. She packed up all the stuff. She's running with the baby down a back alley in Charleston. You don't want to be in a back alley in Charleston, trust me. And then she's confronted by a harnessed child, a skidder, and Hal, devious alter ego Hal. And I was like, uh-oh, you got a real special child there.
And so this is kind of the end of that subplot, or kind of like a surprise to get people to continue watching the show. And you know what? A couple things come to mind is like, she's like, oh, you can't have her. Yeah. But you know what? I think they already had her when she was born.
Yeah, because the kid can stand up and talk and everything. So I don't think you're going to be stopping them from taking her.
No.
At all. So here we go. We're back to the plane with Bressler, Tom, and Pope. And Bressler is making some evasive moves, but they're hit and they're going down. Mayday.
Okay, maybe you can now there was a plane that was hit. Was that the president's plane, or did they have an escort of some sort?
Oh, I didn't know they had an escort. I thought it was just
there was a plane that was right next to them was hit.
So Tom is going to be the president if he can survive. Because the other president would be. But they were. I'll let Rick from Wisconsin say it in his voicemail, because he points out something that I would have pointed out had he not have already said it. But next week's episode is called Search and Recovery. So we already in, and we'll get to the preview and stuff at the end, because some people don't want to be spoiled by that stuff. But can I play that voicemail and then we'll get into that discussion?
Yeah.
All right. Bear with me.
Hey, this is Rick from Wisconsin calling with feedback for Falling Skies. I just got a chance to watch last night's episode and kind of confused by what the professor's girlfriend is doing there with the baby. I don't know how she thinks knocking these people out and trying to run away is going to do anything to save her. It just doesn't make a lot of logical sense to me, because if they're getting cooperation from one, or I guess actually two factions of the aliens to fight against the people trying to take over, why does she have such great fear about what's going to happen? Maybe the baby is going to be one of those cross-species type saviors or whatever, although that's been done before. I like to think this show could be more original than some of the others that we've seen. I thought it was an interesting mission taking this flight, and doesn't look like, even though they're set to be continued, they had trailers right afterwards, so we know at least a couple people survived this crash. And I didn't think it looked too survivable the way they were going down, but still enjoying the show. I like the pace of it. I think it's a good thing about them having short seasons, but this episode was kind of it would have been better as maybe a 2-hour episode the way they paced things. So, thanks. Bye.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rick from Wisconsin. Awesome feedback. Alex, I couldn't agree with him more. The plane looks like it's going straight down in a nosedive, darn near. How are you surviving that?
Well, this is TV, so you know what? I'm sure they're just going to get up, brush off their pants, dust them off, and take off. But as we can see from the preview for next episode, all we see is Pope and Tom.
Yeah.
And so that's, I hate it when they do that, because
then you already know there's no jeopardy.
Right. Well, there's no jeopardy. Not only that, but I'm pretty sure Max Headroom is now out.
Well, we're just speculating, but
we're speculating, yeah.
But they make it look like it's just Tom and Pope duking it out,
right,
and such. And I hate when shows do this. Number one, you don't need to throw up a to be continued sign at the end of the flipping episode, because this is a 10-episode season, and you've already proven that you won't cut off, have resolution for a story arc in one episode, most likely. So we already know that you got to come back to that. I thought that was kind of hokey when they popped up the to be continued. And then when they show the scenes from next week, to me, it's like, just show something like the crash and them just laying in the plane unconscious. And then I have a sense of like, oh no, is Pope okay? Tom's going to make it. But
well, you know what I mean?
Something like that. I don't know.
You know what? Back in the old days, and of course I'm talking, by old days, I'm talking like 10 years and further back, that's the way they used to do TV.
Mm-hmm.
They would probably show the plane crash, okay?
Yep.
And then kind of stop it at that. Who survived? And tune in next week. That's all they had to do, and
yep.
you know darn well that. In fact, I wonder if that's even ruining the ratings.
And did he make a great point about the cross, the hybrid like baby being done to death? Every show tries to.
He's absolutely right.
Yeah, they latch on to that same storyline of there's some child and it's special. You know what I mean? And it's like, come on.
And so now this, and again, this, as was stated, was done to death, first by the original V series, and then all the way to the most recent remake of V, even though they never finished it. But I'm digressing, and I'll get off that soapbox now. Yeah, it's been done to death, and it's really lame.
It is. It's almost like a cop out. Like, oh, we need the baby. Now, if they get a dog, if they're like the Masons get a family pet dog, I'm done. I'll be done watching the show, because that's when you know a show is over, when they get pets.
So, with Anne, you know what? You kind of like, oh, she's going psycho all of a sudden. You know what? She's a mom. She wants to protect that child at all costs.
But
so
it don't. But okay, man, because couldn't she have done that test? Couldn't she have had him do that test in a way that didn't make it so blatantly obvious that it was her daughter?
Well, she doesn't want anybody else to see it.
Because I would have done it like that test subject. I would have pinned it on somebody, one of them harness kids. I would have been like, that test subject is this kid. You're not, that guy's not coming up from his little hole in the ground. Who's he going to tell?
Well, you know what? The problem is this. No parent wants to have their kid taken away from them.
No, I understand.
And that's exactly what would have happened if anybody else would have found out. And so that's why she did what she did to Kadar. That's why she did what she did to what's her name?
I think this email. Let me get into these email, and I think this will kind of touch on some things I'm going to touch on too. So let me get to this first one. Is from Amber. Last season episodes had resolution at the end. There was a problem, and 9 times out of 10 it was resolved by the end of the episode, while at the same time the storyline progressed. This season the episodes seem to be dragging on with no real conclusions to issues that arise. For the episode title, they might as well just say episode 3 part 1 of 5, so you can at least know when to expect a resolution/conclusion to the episode. Otherwise, people are going to get annoyed and lose interest. To me, tonight's episode and last week's could have been combined. See, we've heard this twice now. Then there are the choices being made by the characters that just don't make sense. For example, Alexis's mom knew that there was something wrong with the baby from the start. She tries to convince people of the fact over the last 2 episodes. Then this week, someone finally believes, and she has evidence that the baby isn't normal. And what does she do? She knocks the one person out who believes her, and then makes the scholarly decision to leave the protection of the base and go into the forest where you know the enemy will capture her. What was the point?
In fact, they did, supposedly.
What was the point of running all those tests on the baby to find an abnormality? Dumb. Then don't even get me started on the president's son's girlfriend, who knows that he is leaving at night and going to inform the enemy of their plans and endangering the lives of everyone around her. Hopefully the plot and storyline won't continue to go any further down this path of stupidity. I am going to hang in there for 1 or 2 more episodes to see what happens. Here's hoping for a better episode next week. That comes from Amber. Amber, thank you so much for your feedback. Very good points she makes. And this is stuff that people are pointing out a lot right now is, where's the resolution? Why are these character decisions so weird? Because she makes a great point about Anne. You wanted so many people to believe you that something was wrong. Then when you find out something's wrong, you flip out and try to make a break for it. I'm kind of lost too on that.
Well, I can tell you for a fact next week is just going to be probably, I don't think we possibly won't have 4 things going on at the same time.
Okay, I hope not.
Because I think it's pretty much the main one's going to be about Pope and Tom surviving.
Yeah, the title kind of alludes to that.
And so then maybe some, of course, we'll probably come back and see
and in another week.
Yeah, that'll be the results of that will be.
Yep. I think they're going to hand her off to Karen, and so when Tom gets back, there's going to have to be some kind of major rescue. I don't know how you're going to resolve Hal's situation, But we have one more email, and it's from James in Melbourne.
All right.
Hey, Hank and Alex. Hope you are both well and enjoying Falling Skies. As to your query about me watching Revolution, I became such a diehard fan that I turned the power off. I like it even more now. Nice. Okay, thoughts for this week. We have barely started fighting back, and already the government wants to have meetings. Next week, they will probably start taxing the survivors. Did anyone else see that for some random and inexplicable reason, Lourdes packed a med kit for Tom? Bet that comes in handy. Man, right on the money, James. The eyes of a newborn baby are a portal to the wonder and truth, and delicious with a black bean sauce. Now that aliens are completely stuffed, we have Soul Tie. Oh, goodness, I love it. This guy kicks butt and takes names. Oh, by the way, Tom, there's been a few wars fought over flowers, mainly poppies. Have Skitter Mason and that chick been debating the benefits of spikes for 2 days on the building or what? And he says, oh my goodness, could it be the death of Lourdes? No, I don't think so. She's just knocked out. Anne's not a killer. Well, it's still a great show. Can't wait to hear what you guys think. Stupid Micah Ward, Moon Bloodgood. Of course the Skitters want your freaky Chucky child. And that's James from Melbourne. Thank you so much, James. He's awesome. And I agree totally that that's who my vote is going for, because it's Anne. I mean, that she did so many stupid things in this episode, it's hard to just pick one dumb thing.
And with that being said, and the very end, she ends up getting captured by the Skitters themselves.
Yeah, or she would have just went to the woods and got captured by him, so it was
right.
less of a walk, which, we'll debate.
I don't know. My suggestion would be Lourdes herself.
No, I can't give it to Lourdes.
How can you fall for something like that? Because not only are you underage and drinking, but the way the weird goo eyes that Anne was making at her, like, come on, you better drink it. You better drink it.
You better drink it.
Everybody knew something was in there.
I understand that because that was in the script, but I don't understand Anne going, hey, can you run these tests? Because I'm going to knock you out as soon as these test results come back. I thought that was stupid. I thought her showing up right on time when Tom is in the picture, it was just ridiculous. And then her, you're going to go to the woods. You, who has probably never fired a weapon in your life, you're going to somehow go to the woods and survive. She's got to be unanimously the stupid Mike recipient, I think.
And you know what? We might as well keep it in the Mason family.
Exactly. So let me hand her award. If the Skitters will let her go for long enough for me to hand it to her. Anne Glass, please step forward. All right. Alex and I would love to hand you this award. Achieving excellence in stupidity. Anne Glass, we salute you. All right. She got her award. Alex, are we going to enter the spoiler zone?
It is now time to enter the spoiler zone.
Let me play my little soundbite for people who listen to the audio so they know. Folks, if you don't want to join us in the spoiler zone, leave now and be sure to check out the website for details on getting your I Love Plot Holes gear, because it's so cool. Warning, incoming spoilers. All right, Alex, let's step behind this curtain of spoilery and let's start talking. So, did you look and see anything about Bressler's episode count on IMDb?
I can check that out right now.
Yeah,
but one thing I want to tell everybody is that if you look at the episode titles,
Mm-hmm.
I think our mole is going to be discovered on episode 6, which
Yes.
is called "Be Silent and Come Out."
Yep, that's it.
And you know what? I don't know about you guys, but I've been waiting for this to wrap up for a long time, and they could have easily wrapped it up sooner instead of later.
Yeah, in the 2-hour episode, they could have wrapped it up. Or at least episode 3, they should have wrapped it up.
Yeah.
At least episode 3, because we don't need this long deliberation. Hal has his own problems. That is, like you said, it's a story arc inside of another story arc. You know? And it's kind of a little much. I love the alter ego Hal, but we're going to have to get some resolutions going here because we're going to be to what? Episode 5 next week?
Episode 5.
Gotta
And
get on
I think I mentioned earlier that episode 5 would in fact be where the big revelation.
Okay.
However, I'm not so sure now.
Okay, so we think it's going to move back.
So I think it's going to go back to 6 because I think too many things are going to be going on.
And 5, I think, with the title being Search and Rescue, I think that's going to be just centered almost exclusively around Tom and Pope.
Right.
Trying to survive, plus fighting it out. Where have we seen that, Alex? Where have we seen that exact same storyline? Miles and Sebastian duke it out after they...
And you know what? With you saying that, it's like, come on, guys. Let's think of something original.
That's the problem. That's just the problem. It's like, I think it's such an easy route to go rehash. You know what I mean? Because I write, dabble. It's not my career totally or whatever, but I write and such. And I could see where a writer would be like, well, this is my job. It's a lot to do. Let me just see what else has been done already.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just seems like an easy way out. And it seems safer than trying something original. Because, you know, if you try something original, you could fall flat, totally flat on your face. But to me, in this situation, doing this rehash is even worse to me.
Yeah, so I'm looking at
DB?
DB right now.
Okay.
And there's a nice picture of Maxim Night in his full curliness there. So Maxim, sorry I ever doubted you. And
natural curliness.
It's natural curly, not the artificial Alex Cruz curliness from the late 80s.
Exactly.
That's another story in and of itself.
And unlike Hank Davis, he's never had to put on blue magic or afro sheen like I did. That's how I got my curls.
So I am looking for Mr. Brewer's. Oh, there, Matt or Frewer. Here we go.
Okay.
And I'm trying to. It's you know what? It's not really saying how many episodes.
They're trying to keep it under wraps, I bet. But
yeah, but you know what? I'm not so sure because if they do that, why are they? I don't know.
Because if he survives, it would have to be a scenario where he's in the plane, broken legs or something. They have to go get help, but then they start duking it out or something. That's the only scenario I could see working.
Well, I'm not sure how up-to-date the IMDb is because they're not even listing Michael Hogan as being a part of Falling Skies.
Oh, amazing.
So I'm looking right now. Yeah, it's because the one character on Fallen Skies, was it the Gloria Rubin? Is that her name?
Which one? Which one is she
the one who plays the assistant to the president?
Oh,
hang on, I'm getting her.
Marina? Is her character? Is that her character?
Yeah, I mean she's a well-known actress, and she was only committed to Gloria Rubin. I'm sorry. She plays Marina, and she is only committed to 5 episodes.
Yep.
Well, guess what, boys and girls? She's been in 4 already.
Yep. That's exactly what I was wondering if they were just going to keep her off screen, you know, next week or whatever. And then in episode 6, bam, here's your mole.
And then
Makes sense.
You know what? And another thing too. Whatever happened to Diego?
Excellent point.
Go Diego, go. Guess what?
Why did it even have to be him to begin with? Why did he even have to be in the story to begin with? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as, there he is. He's harnessed. We got to rescue him. And now he doesn't get a speaking role. What does that sound like? And then Anthony's role went from he's going to step it up this season to next to nothing again.
Yeah, I mean he had that major part in the first episode.
Yep.
Right? And guess what? That's
zilch.
I haven't seen Anthony at all, and so Anthony may be joining his buddy Di by the end of the season.
Yeah.
But no, I'm looking right now, and I can't
get a fix on it. I wonder if that's on purpose or on just coincidental.
So I got one more thing I'm going to do, so everybody can say, "Hey, that's
an interesting theory."
All right.
Because like guys like us, if we look at show counts, we'll piece together any freaking series that you can throw at us.
Oh, you know heck yeah!
We that's why I try not to look, but since we have the tape up on the spoiler zone, I'm telling you what.
And while I'm looking this up really quick, I want to give a shout out to our friend Wayne. They just started They just released the 3rd episode of last week of their Inside the Dome podcast.
Under the Dome radio. And
it's really cool because they're coming under the auspicion of reading the book first before watching the TV show. And so I'm going to call in there and I'm going to come in with the exact opposite. I haven't read the book at all, so I want to watch it with going into it like that.
That's exactly how I'm going to do it too. Because for me, it's hard to come at these shows from any other perspective. Because what I hate when I listen to a podcast, I don't like to hear too many references about the book. If it's a show about some sort of book like Game of Thrones, their podcasts are so annoying because they're always slanted towards that. But in some of these things, they're trying to make a new version of it. And I want to talk about what's going on with the TV show. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm sure there's a huge audience that want to know the contrast between the book and the TV show. But I'm one of the people that I approach things from what I'm seeing on the screen. You know,
and I'm sure people, and you know what, that had an excellent premiere. Yes. I think it said like 14 million people tuned into the first episode.
Oh my!
It's
how come we can't saddle our backs onto a show like that? You know, a show that's
well,
huge.
I know we talked about, hey, let's go ahead and just for giggles, let's just do a podcast on this, and then Wayne Henderson kind of beat us to the punch, and it's like, well, there's no use doing it if Wayne's doing it.
Right.
We'll just support Wayne all we can, and listen to his podcast on that show, and then like I said, they have an awesome voicemail set up too, where I can just pipe in as many times as I want now to that.
I love it. I love it. I agree with you. But we've got our own plans for the fall. We've got a show that could be big. Could be saddling our saddles.
And you know what? I have more of a background into this TV show, being the comic book guy too. Yep.
So you'll come at it from that perspective?
Oh,
definitely. Come at it from the television. Here's what I expect to see next week, because I know television writing so well. You know, I just know how they have to. They're meeting deadlines like anybody else, man. It's a, you know, people think writing is a glorious job and such, and it can be. But a lot of times, man, you're just trying to beat a deadline, dude, and trying to pump out 10,000 words or whatever your quota is, isn't always the easiest thing to do when you just don't have anything.
Right.
And that's where you get the rehashes. That's where you get the stories that don't go anywhere. for 2-3 weeks. That's where you get all the little plot hole mistakes because you're just sitting there like, oh, shoot, I forgot about such and such. Oh, crap. I did. Oh, how am I going to write that out of there? You know what I mean?
But isn't that why you would have an awesome editor that would pick up on that and correct and help you with it?
You would think.
And that's what I think what the problem is. It's not only with that type of writing, but it's writing everywhere.
And I agree with you there. And I also think they should have, and I'm not saying this just for our benefit, but they should have people like us that are already going to be reviewing the stuff anyway, that we run through. If you get your first 3 episodes written, we run through that real quick, and then we go, hey, look, here's where I'd poke a hole in here, here, and here, so they could fix it. That's what the editors should be doing and executive producers, but that doesn't happen on on the shows we watch anyway. And
you know what? I wonder, I hate to sound like an old geezer, but I'm going to sound like one anyway. I don't remember it ever being that bad back in the 80s and the 70s and 80s. But then I'll say this. TV wasn't nearly as good. The drama TV wasn't nearly as good. I mean, you would have never had something like The Walking Dead.
No. Game of Thrones would never existed back then.
No,
no way. You're right.
So TV is better. They just the writers and the editors need to put a stronger grip on plots. I mean, I know we're joking around and especially with our TV, with our T-shirt. And you know what? I'd plan on having one and wear a new one every day like I do my Hawaiian shirts. So I love Hawaiian shirts.
The Hawaiian shirts rule. But you're right. I mean, it's I just don't want to, because I know there's some writers out there that are like, hey, you guys just don't understand what we're up against or whatever. But it feels like
part of that too is there's more than one writer for a series.
Oh, there's 4, 5, 6 more sometimes.
And so with the job of an editor is even more difficult.
Yeah, it'd be ridiculously hard for someone to go through that. And, I just think that there's a little less care on some of these projects taken. I just don't. I think they're the old mentality of this is my baby project. It's just less and less anymore. It really is. When you start introducing money, it just seems like the passion starts to dwindle or whatnot, and just becomes a property. It's not your baby anymore. And
you nailed it right there. And in the end, it's all about money. There's no question.
Sad, but true. Well, Alex, you want to leave it right there?
All right, sounds good.
Awesome. We've had a long but awesome show. Those of you who stuck with us past the spoiler zone got to hear some interesting thoughts in our little after party, I should say.
And well, for also too, if I could say this really quick,
for
all of you people that have a smartphone or whatever, Dark Horse. If you get the Dark Horse Comics app, you will be able to view every single web comic from Fallen Skies, from the Battle of Fitchburg, and even about from the first season as well.
Awesome. I will have to do
and then
that
you can
too.
read that anytime you want. My only problem with that is, I'll say this because I don't care, but this is okay. Go ahead and put me back on my soapbox.
Okay.
It's time for another edition of Uncle Alex's Soapbox.
All right, boys and girls. As I stated, I'm a little older, and reading material out of a device, to me, especially a smartphone, is stupid.
What?
It's stupid, and I'll tell you why. I don't know if it's because I'm so used. Like, when I read, I got tons of online comics on my iPhone, and I just don't like it as much as the printed material.
Yeah,
it has to be printed for me because I think too. The iPhone screens are really tiny. And
they're tiny, man.
That's probably a part of it because I was reading your book with my iPhone and I kept on with my finger going back and forth with it. I said, this is kind of dumb.
That's hard. Yeah.
And you know what? I can't tell you from experience of from an iPad or any type of a pad that anybody may have, electronic device, but I can say that iPhones don't work.
I agree with you on the reading on your phone because they make the Nook app, they make the Kindle app and stuff for your phone, and you think, oh, this is awesome. Now I have access to all this stuff. And then as you squint your eyes to, look, trying to view stuff like you're a fly or something,
right?
It's nearly impossible to get any kind of enjoyment because you're just sitting there squinting the whole time.
Now, I got the Kindle app for mine, and again, see, I'm pressing my button right now. I'll probably go right to where I left off reading your book, and, ooh, it wants all my Amazon stuff. I don't think so.
I want your Amazon info. Come on.
And so anyway, though, it's I can't say, if, like I said, from an iPad point of view because I've never read, but I know my wife has the Nook. And
which my book is now available on Nook as well.
All right, cheap plug. My wife, I bought her a Nook about 2 years ago, and it's funny because she now has an iPhone. I see her using that more often.
Really? Than the Nook?
Yeah,
the Nook is a pretty good device. It's a pretty slick device.
And I would say so too. I would like if I'm reading any of my comic book material, or I would probably if I do on a device, I want a device with a large screen, like the iPad or a Nook. But at the end of the day, again, I'm going to state that I rather have the physical book in my hand reading it. I rather have the physical comic in my hand reading it. So
awesome!
That's my 2 cents.
I agree with you, man. There's something that takes away from that sensation of it's not just the pages, but just to physically have the book. It's not necessarily the texture of the pages or anything,
right?
But to physically flip the page and stuff, it just feels more natural because that's how we grew up.
And it's going to be kind of interesting because my daughter's generation, my daughter's 11 years old, and they've been used to the electronic stuff their whole life. And so they're going to, I'm pretty sure, I know I call my daughter Mini-Me all the time because she and I like the same stuff. I got her into Star Wars and all that stuff. And she prefers to be on her electronic device. She has her own comics and stuff, but she's on her electronic device all the time, and
that's how they're gonna grow up. That generation. Awesome. All right, so some bonus content for those on YouTube. They're gonna be like, hey, "This is awesome." All right, so Alex, we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm off my soapbox now. Sorry,
he's coming down. I wanted to do. My girlfriend said it would be too obnoxious, but I was gonna have a sound where it's like dragging something, like you're dragging your soapbox out to take it out, and then to put it away, you drag it and it's screeching across the floor. But she was like, "That's too obnoxious."
I think we need to get some like soap bubble sound effects.
That would be that'd be awesome. Bloop, 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 bloop. Don't get me going because I'll start doing that stuff. All right, folks. For Alex Cruz, I'm Hank Davis. Until next time, my friends, we're signing off.
See ya.